5 weeks ago, 16 teams from across Europe descended here to the StarLadder studio in Berlin, Germany to find out who is the best competitive PUBG team. And now we are at the final stages of that journey. Stacked at the top, everything is still to play for. Everything is in contention. And at the bottom, those teams, they're fighting to survive. Everybody, it's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Parla, and this is PEL Phase 3, Week 6.
This is it, people. 5 weeks of Phase 3 are behind us, and we're off to the final matches, and they are going to be brutal. Let's take a look at the leaderboards for one last time this year and try to guess who's up for the cup. FaZe Clan are still at the top. However, things last week got very competitive, and they are now only 2 points ahead. TSM has been driving their arm-to-the-teeth car down Fury Road with only one aim, to blow up everything and take the crown. What a lovely day. Na'Vi are not that far behind either. The team are aware it's their last chance to win, so these four are ready to fight like beasts. If beasts could fight with mice and keyboards, of course. Meanwhile, Team Liquid's Sampty, who suspiciously looks like Jempty, got 31 kills last week. This obviously makes him the leader, but unfortunately that didn't help the team much in terms of leaderboard standings. We should also mention N47, who have become the obvious surprise of the tournament. Slowly but surely, the Norwegian Warriors have climbed their way to top 5. And, of course, it would be a crime not to pay respect to CrowCrowd. Their rapid uptake to 6th place was spectacular. Now, both teams are willing to fight for the last drop of blood. And so, here we are. The finals are upon us, and earth-shattering PUBG action is going to blow us all away. Fasten your seatbelts and hold on. The Phase 3 final plane is about to take off. Let's go.
Are we here a day early? Yes, we are, because it is now Super Week to get things going for the final time here for Phase 3. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the desk. These guys are all excited as well, all for the Super Week action that's about to go down.
Super Week. I tried to, like, it started with them so we could echo you a little bit.
I need the echo button. One day.
That would have been amazing.
You know what?
Maybe in 2020.
You just do that, we'll do the echo for you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Every time you need the echo, when you start your su, then we'll follow through.
Great. Thank you. But we do have 4 days of action coming at you throughout this week, of course, relative to our other weeks where we had 3 days worth of action. And then the final day has 1 extra game as well. So tons to come here throughout Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, no, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Great stuff.
That's the one.
Don't know why I had to start with Wednesday. That was weird. Gentlemen, Froz, Avenger joining me here as well. Guys, coming into the Super Week. What are your expectations? Obviously, there's a lot on the line for a lot of these teams. FaZe currently still sits at the top.
Look, I'm going to start out with this. Knights, Pittsburgh Knights, currently on 12th place. They can go down to relegation, but they can also qualify for PGC. And every team above them can qualify for PGC right now.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what's on the stake right now. That everybody can do this. It depends on how they're going to be playing it out this week.
5 or 6 teams-ish is kind of able to get into the spot that are currently in the top 6.
Yep.
For me, we have 3 stories to follow. The top 4, who's going to take the whole win? Our 2 spots that are kind of up for grabs right now for the 5th and the 6th PGC spot, and who's going to relegate? Who's going to go in the bottom 4 after this 21 games?
Here's the current standings as they do sit at the moment. 4 of the big 5 are in those top 4 positions. However, one of the big 5 in G2 is all the way down in 8th place, tied 7th place, but of course on kills, seems like NIP's been able to trump that out for the moment. Overall, when it comes to how things stand here, not only for the competition here for Phase 3 to try and challenge for that, but also for PGC. First place will be guaranteeing themselves a spot at PGC over in America later on in the year. And then from there, 5 more teams will accumulate the global points to try and go there. 30% from previous phase, 70% of the points from this phase.
Yes, and I mean G2, they got a lot of points from Phase 2, so they look like they're pretty secured for PGC if they don't just have a super terrible week like they had last week. At the same time, one of the big points is CrowCrowd and NIP. They tied up in Phase 2, meaning currently it's 5 points differential on them on who's gonna go to PGC actually.
And at the moment, as you say, CrowCrowd in the lead in that regard. But Avenger, I think across the next 4 days of games, the 21 games that we've got coming up, there is certainly a ton of room for a shake-up here, even though CrowCrowd has proved themselves to be extremely formidable across this phase so far.
So I had the pleasure of talking to Tiikzu and Vard from CrowCrowd and NIP just before, and they were debating whether it was possible for both of them to be able to take over G2. And I told them, it's a long jump. Yes, G2 had a 53-point week last week, but we're talking those 2 teams need to get 80 more points this week, 80 more than G2.
Oof. 62 actually, I've done the math.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
62 points.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's not undoable.
No.
It's not undoable, but at the same time, NIP has been looking pretty strong the last 2 weeks here. So I'm expecting them to come up strong here in the last week as well, securing themselves that spot for PGC.
It's an exciting week here for PEL. Everything kind of comes to a head here, comes to a conclusion. And of course, we just had PEL contenders finish up. I think it was last night.
Yes.
I was watching it in my hotel room, seeing what was going on. So that's exciting as well. For in 2 weeks' time or so, there will be the promotion and relegation going on. And speaking of which, 4 teams at the moment that are kind of staring down that barrel are GamerLegion, ENCE, Digital Athletics, and 7. Do we think that there's going to be much shake-up there? Or
so the bottom 2 for sure is certain, I would say at this point.
Okay.
ENCE can have a Phase 1 championship kind of run if they want to make it out.
Yeah.
GamerLegion is only 16 points from Knights. So if they want to swap spots with those guys, they obviously have to get more points than those boys. But Knights, they have been performing extremely well in kind of towards the end of Phase 2, for example. So they're able to, when they're on a kind of a verge of whether they're qualifying or not, they're able to step up.
I'm sad to say this, but I don't think ENCE will be making it. Last week, they tied up with 7's worst week, which was the worst points ever in PEL here. Now, that comes off from they having their highest week the week before, which was 76 points, and that is not good for being the best week out of 5 in Phase 3 here.
Oh, and even if they broke that, even if they got, let's just say, an 80-point week, compared to how many points they're ahead are, GamerLegion is ahead, and also GamerLegion will be accumulating some points. It's looking very unlikely for ENCE to get there. Obviously, we're hoping for them to be able to do something magical, but it's looking like the bottom 3 right now is set. It's set in stone. And GamerLegion and Knights, maybe Desperados, they will be fighting for that 4th spot.
Well, here is FaZe Clan, currently sat in that #1 spot. And for all intents and purposes, they've been able to win the most chicken dinners. They have been performing the best overall. They've got themselves 561 points up at the top. Are we looking at Phase 3 champions here?
They look really, really strong right now, but at the same time, I feel like TSM looks more like a championship team for me. We saw them do a roster change. They picked up Iroh. They picked up DESPERADO as their coach as well, and it's just been looking so much better than previous phases from TSM.
Avenger?
It's so hard to say, honestly. For me, like FaZe Clan, TSM, Na'Vi, maybe even Liquid if they have a week like they did last week, could take home the championship. I want to wait and see what happens today. If they start off today, after we're done today with the 5 games, if they start up with a really nice momentum leading into the rest of the days, anyone can take it. Liquid, if they start off with an amazing day today, 50, 60 points, then they also have a chance to do it.
Miramar starting things off, boys. Your thoughts going in, starting with you, Froz?
I want to see TSM doing really good here. I want to see them take that lead because we know that they are a team that likes having the momentum. And going into Miramar, they can do it. They can get that momentum going. If they do, it's going to be their weekend.
Avenger?
For me here, I want to see NIP stepping it up, starting from Miramar. I want to really see them starting with a good game, and then they're throwing themselves into this PGC fight here.
It's an exciting time, it's an exciting week. All of these teams are looking to accumulate as many points as possible, not only avoid relegation if they are near that, but also trying to get themselves to PGC. The final week of PEL here will determine everything. Who will be our champion and who is going to PGC. But now let's head to the commentating team as Pansy and Demon bring you all the action from the deserts.
Well, it is match 76. So much more to be seen. So much on the line now as well. That's the big thing here. We've had this entire season, and then Super Week sits at the end, at the very peak of all of this. And so much to be fought for in so many different regards. The very bottom fighting for just sheer survival. PGC's out there. There's so much to be seen still.
Absolutely, is every team, and we shouldn't forget the money cut off as well that is in there. There's about 300k up for grabs. So this is just a small amount. Sorry,
Can I get a bit of that?
I know, right? We're going to slice of that, but did we qualify? I didn't qualify. I didn't qualify for PGC, so saltiness. But GamerLegion, that's a team that can, and they had a really good weekend last week, and they pushed the Knights now, so they're on the chase. I do believe they are lacking in Miramar for their Chicken and World Tour. If they can maybe pick one of those wins up, they do drop and are being challenged in Shumasera by Desperados. Of course, the teams at the top that everybody's looking at is obviously your FaZe Clans. Team Liquid, by the way, did you see James's rallying call that he posted at 4 a.m. this morning?
No,
I
was asleep.
I was looking at Twitter. No, I was up this morning going breakfast, and I was like, posted 6 hours ago. I was like, that's 4 a.m. Like,
those are the
gamer
hours.
He's gone through every teammate, like SIMSY, the best player in PUBG at the moment.
Hyped up,
it being much improved this year and all this. Like, yeah, it's giving it loads. Gemty single-handedly making some epic calls that are winning them big games.
Yeah.
And, oh, it was a full rallying call coming out from James. I love to see it coming into this final week. But unfortunately, we're back in the old same circle as last week.
So, FaZe compound. Let's look at it.
Drayden's already going to the compound. So
yeah, Drayden's off to his, and we'll see Fuzzface go to his. It's, you know, everyone's very kind and cordial. They know how it plays out. We do know how these tend to end. It's quite northern, though, I would say that. There is a little bit more of a northern slice into this circle with, you know, La Cabrera is still in there, but you do tend to see it moving away down south from those crater fields.
There is a bit of differences, obviously, with the plane path as it is. It does put CrowCrowd up in Campo Militar, so it does mean the edge of El Pozo, which is where they ordinarily would be sitting, is available for someone like NIP and TSM, because they do have a tendency to make their way that way. TSM may even just go for the hillside like they have done quite often, based on the fact that the actual center of the circle is that field just outside El Pozo. So there's a strong chance that it goes that way, or whether it may. Obviously, we saw it in Death Valley last week. We saw a number of games in and around the FaZe Clan compound, effectively, I'm going to start calling it that, and the power grid area, sort of that sort of area. Obviously, CrowCrowd picks up some big points here because they were in Pozo. So this is a big problem for CrowCrowd, a team that is, I believe, 45 points, if my maths is correct. It might be slightly wrong. 45 points away from G2 from qualifying. And I spoke to G2, and they were basically saying, yep, it's okay. We still have this cushion, but that's the limit. We don't want it to be pushed any more than it has been, because they've really had a bad week last week.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still just... It feels like G2's kind of asleep. I know that sounds weird, because I still remember them from, you know, last season when they were this very explosive team, when you had Chris popping off. They had that, you know, edge style that they clung to that not many other teams did, and stylistically that was unique, and I liked seeing it, but it's just not translated so well this season. Sitting middle of the pack here in real time is just not quite up to par.
And I just want to get across, guys, obviously you guys have the real-time standings on your screen at the moment. You also have the Twitch app that will be showing you the points throughout. Now, that is just phase 3 points. And when I'm talking about a points cushion between CrowCrowd, NIP, and G2, which is the current bubble, G2 are on it, I'm talking about the PGC, the chance of qualifying, and that's calculated by 70% of the points coming from this phase, 30% from the previous phase, and that's how it's all been calculated. Obviously, these guys, G2 had a really good phase 2, not having a good phase 3, and that's what we're talking about the bubble, because obviously you can see in the actual phase 3 standings, G2 are currently in 8th place.
There Exactly that.
It gets a little confusing. We'll try and hold your hands as we go through the week.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to have those real-time standings that did include that, but we'll do our best for you guys at home. Again, I'm sure some of you out there have already worked it out. Maybe someone's already created that live standing for you. That'd be wonderful if someone does. Keep mind towards it. We'll try and highlight it if it becomes even more relevant, especially between CrowCrowd, G2, that sort of middle of the pack table, as you highlighted and as said. Now, let's have a look at what we're seeing. Can you believe it? We have the Knights in this compound. And can you believe it? We have FaZe in FaZe's compound.
Can you believe it?
It's wild out here.
It's like they've done it before.
Now, the one thing that will become interesting is the teams who need to start pushing a little bit, start, you know, pushing a little further up that leaderboard. Now there's a little bit of a pressure point on them, to say the least. It is Super Week. If you're wondering why we're starting today, if you didn't catch the desk, you get even more. You get even more games on Sunday. It's going to be a very ram-packed, I guess, extended weekend of PUBG. So buckle yourselves in. We will try and keep up to date with all the action going on and what all of these kills and placements mean, what all these teams are vying for, because as you said, PGC, money, staying in the PEL, all of these elements are just piling on some of these teams. So if you want to talk about pressure, this is going to be one of those pressure weeks. This is where if you said, oh, you know, it's a long season of PEL, you better deliver today. These next couple of days are where you prove that you weren't just saying it because you weren't quite up to par. This is where you start putting all that work into place.
Bit wobbly there, dear. He's all over the road, isn't he?
He's had a bevy.
He's going up
Couple
water
of
treatment.
glasses of wine.
They're going to get. They're going to kind of run straight into CrowCrowd now. For reciprocity, I think they're just going to continue on north. No, they're going to join on the same road. They're going to be running level with each other. Let's see if we have any fancy drive-by scoops. I mean, none of it. None of it at all. NOOKIE's kind of pulled up a little bit, and the rest of Reciprocity are nearby, so that's maybe a mistake. Monkey and Scoop were ahead. Shiv's there as well, so NOOKIE, yeah, actually rightly so, is diverting, and they're going to go up to Oasis.
This is a fun one. CrowCrowd, one of those teams that if they keep pushing, they have a couple of those, I guess, play days that were huge, big performances. They could definitely shake things up. The southern side of, I guess, the FaZe compound is getting quite busy. You've got GamerLegion towards it. And I'm looking at them today as well because they know how this circle plays out. I was just talking to them outside. They're well aware of, you know, the tendencies. And I think every team in PEL is. And they said that was one of the biggest changes coming into this is that, you know, you look at contenders and other leagues, they don't quite have that same, like, full knowledge of everything. Whereas all these teams, they not only are so individually phenomenal, they understand those circles and how they work out, and you play the percentages just that little bit better. So for them, they're aware of this. They're looking towards how do we get close to those really hot points. Menok's just about getting the car up over the hill. But all these teams fighting for some very big compound areas now.
Massive spread from Team Liquid here. You can see SIMSY on your screens near Desperados. Gemty is sort of over this way as well, just a bit further behind. But
found Fuzzface.
Now the rest of Team Liquid are going to join them. Yeah, Fuzz. That's just going to be peeking out the window, yeah. I'd assume, unless we see him. Maybe he stretched a little too far. Okay, so Team Liquid are coming to have a peek at this house. You know, Desperados might want to get mobile because they had a 2-2 split themselves, 2 in Pozo. So they're just trying to hold as much ground as they can, sort of on the edge of Monte Nuevo. Here's FaZe, you can see, yeah, they're just in the compound, so they're going to get themselves revived.
And the strength of this compound is, again, something we were all discussing, because we're outside just chatting about, you know, why that's such a good compound to take, is the fact that it's so hard to crash as well. It's so open, the field around. If you're going to try and pull up and run off the hill, you're going in blind. You've got this huge open field, so everyone can just, you know, get ready. And it's FaZe. They're not going to miss that many shots on you anyway, so you have a clean run up to them. They're going to just pepper you to absolute nothing. So again, that's why it's such a strong area. Same to a degree with the Knights, a little bit easier to crash, but still very difficult. Holds the same sort of circle tendencies. We will be seeing if there's anything surprising with this circle. I'd love to see that. That would really shake things up here if it moves away from that dramatically, heads north, east, something a little out of the blue here.
The biggest losers in this circle have been CrowCrowd. You know, that obviously ordinarily would drop in Pozo, so they'd be happy. NIP have taken up residence in their usual spot. So CrowCrowd out on the western edge of Pozo. Just two of them. The other two are still coming in from north of La Cabrera. So they've really got a lot of work to do in this next phase. NIP, as you can see, Vard, he is quite far north of Pozo on his own there, along with Udia. But where are we going to go? Are we going to go down to the power station? We're going to Monte Nuevo. Hello. So, well, maybe FaZe, maybe it will pull up to FaZe compound. We'll see. FaZe might adjust from this one. I don't know whether, I think they're just going to stay where they are. And Monte Nuevo is about to get very crowded, I think.
Yeah, you're going to have to try and take some territory towards
Jesus.
it. The East is looking quite nice for G2 for now. They've got a good spread. They've got good information on it. They might crash GamerLegion, which would be quite surprising if they do that. It's very early to go for it when there's still so much available. But as you said, look at all these teams just migrating south. You've got Raise Your Edge, Reciprocity, CrowCrowd, all of them just kind of compiling. South Na'Vi, Liquid, all on the move, looking for that next big compound.
And when you see all these teams, obviously they're scurrying for moves. What they've done is they've played the possibilities of like where it could go. As we say, we've seen it go into Death Valley, east of Pozo. We've seen it go south of Pozo, which it has done this time. We've seen it go over to Power Grid a number of times in that circle. And of course, we've also had in, I believe it was week 4, a bunch of times it went north. First man down is Dimmy. We talked about CrowCrowd having problems. Sadly, that was the 2 that were actually in position, because the other 2 are coming down. They're about to bump into Raise Your Edge as well. So Tiikzu's totally on his own at the moment.
Yeah, and DESPERADO's there circling. They're like vultures here. They could see a bit of weakness on that, and they might want that compound. It's not a bad one. It's far from ideal, but it's in, it's safe, and CrowCrowd can't get there fast enough. The rest of them are so far away. You've got Raise Your Edge en route. Reciprocity could run the same thing. Tiikzu just has to dig his heels in here. He has to really show that he's bigger than he is, and Tiikzu's a great player. He's had some big performances, but he's being kept watch. And the other 2, I don't know if they can even support him. He's so surrounded.
They've pulled up because they were getting tracked and sort of running parallel with Raise Your Edge, who are actually passing by DESPERADOs now, so might slightly distract.
God,
Vard, dear me.
Did he get knocked off that? I don't know.
I just want to draw your attention. If you got the map open, you would have noticed the Team Liquid right next to DESPERADOs a moment ago when that circle shrink. They could have just gone back down to Montenuevo, but instead they've gone way down south, gone across the valley, and they're now almost heading towards Chumacera. It's a really big rotate. They're going to actually bump into ENCE as well on their rotate. So whatever Team Liquid got cooking, it is a big swing.
Right, it looks like DESPERADOs are having enough. They don't want to
shots.
get third-partied either. That is so good from
him.
Tiikzu. That's the third party they're banking on. That's Raise Your Edge finally coming in from the north, heading down south. That's from the western side. Tiikzu is being pushed, though. Calvin is right at the door here. Nice little nade to slow it down. Gets the tag, too. Tiikzu's on the push. He smells the weakness. He sees the shadow. He knows what's happening here. Can he drop? Can he make this happen? Oh, SIMSY! Oh, he just had the angle. And Calvin, you better give SIMSY a little pat on the back for that one.
Yeah, saved his behind. Oh, my God, Team Liquid. As I was saying,
did he get shot out of
big
it?
weird rotate. I'm guessing maybe one bailed and one
I don't understand
jumped.
how SEMPTY and... This must have been just a separate occurrence?
Yeah, okay. They were both at the same time.
That's just weird. That's just unfortunate timing. I mean, it's mistakes for sure, but this is not the time you want to be doing that, right?
No.
This is the last time in the world you want to be doing these sort of
I mean,
errors.
for a team like Team Liquid, they're qualified pretty much, unless they have like the worst weekend and everybody around them has the best weekend. It would have to be massively drastic, but they want the #1 spot. That's what they're talking about. They want to be going in. And really anyone, any team, obviously FaZe Clan are in that position at the moment. You want to be going to PGC as the #1 team from your region. It gives you that scare factor to everyone around you that's going to be fighting for those same drop spots, etc. It is a southern swing once again with the circle. So Team Liquid's move, they clearly read the circle well. They knew what was happening, but it's cost them 2 players so far.
God, and Ibby's just been flushed there by ENCE. It's, again, really nice read, but the execution... lacking, just a couple of mistakes, and everyone's going to be so on point here that I don't think you're going to get away with much. I think you're just going to be just punished instantly.
A slight misread, I think, from it is based off they hadn't read just how many teams were south based off the playing path, because it pretty much went down across prison, right? And then upwards, which is why you got ENCE and DA, etc. down there, because they'd all had to bail down way down south of Chumacera, etc. So definitely cost them. Michael just about getting away with it there. G2 up on the hill. We've seen it finish here before. I remember this was a FaZe Global Summit game where the American shoot to kill picked up a big round.
It's a lovely compound. Look at it, just strategically. Its place on the map is very, very nice. TSM going to play the foot of the hill. 2-2 split currently. They're not in any danger of being crashed. I don't think G2 would do that. They're happy probably where they are. The rest of TSM trying to make it over. But here's the benefit of G2's position. Really nice vision from afar, getting nice little tags. Actually, they're quite low here. This is very dangerous for TSM, and there goes Gustav. Don't want to lose out on him here, but Iroh still stands. Going to probably make it in towards the side of the hill. You wanted that covering fire to come in. Michael's been able to at least temper some of this. This should give them a second or two to get Iroh into position. I see shots from another angle coming in, but he should be safe.
They flushed him out as well, so Gustav down. Had a mad week last weekend. Some epic plays coming out from him. Oh, Rory getting knocked as well. GamerLegion catching that one out. That's just going to be a simple knock at the window, so nothing massive coming from it. Raise Your Edge deciding to go up on the mountaintop and trying to wake the way up there. CrowCrowd, they have grouped together their 2 players still way out north, getting shots onto the Knights. They're finally leaving their compound. But not in that car yet.
Oh, Snark, yeah, that car's not looking so hot, is it? And I think the tire was out on Iroh's bike then. It looked a little bit slower in the way it was like moving around. I think he was having issues with that, which is
it was a risky pull-up, in fairness. I was surprised he did it on a bike.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just want to get with your team,
Collect
right?
your teammate, yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. Let's look at the rest of the teams here. CrowCrowd, obviously, were one of the teams we were looking at, stuck in the north, very, very far removed from the, I guess, more contentious teams in this round at least. 7, good position. DA, good position. Na'Vi, what a little bit of a slow burn from them, but a nice one. 2-2 split either side of the road. Not bad at all. Under the assumption they can kind of bring themselves together when required. And Southeast side is very strong as well, but GamerLegion, for me, have actually come out quite nicely in this. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens if it does move away from them further south, for example. That run up at that hill is going to look real scary.
Yeah, FaZe are going to be kicking themselves if it goes down to ladder. That's their standard position on that circle, but it has pulled south twice so far. We'll see if it continues that way. No,
nice.
It goes sort of southeast-ish. It does give DA a big chance. GamerLegion, as you mentioned, they're going to get pressured now. And there are still 2 big compounds just east of GamerLegion. You can see they're wide open. So we'll see whether anyone works their way in there. Reciprocity, they just took that big swing all the way around the east, coming in on the edge of Chumasera. ENCE are regrouping, so they're in the house. Nice drive in the Rustanmar. And Znark and NOOKIE, they're in a staring competition in the blue. Who finds each other first?
This is so rough for CrowCrowd. I mean, win or lose to Znark, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, there it is. He's going to drop down. Znark's going to claim that. This is pretty poor start for CrowCrowd. You wanted that confidence builder. You wanted that way in. Knocking Znark won't really make a big difference here, you know what I mean? Yeah. Either way. My eyes turn to GamerLegion in this one just because that positioning's quite good, and I want to see what FaZe do with it. Yeah. Do they crash? Because this is when you start reading those circles and you get that kind of intuition. You know what's going to happen. Okay, we're in a very, very desirable spot. Let's hunker down. That's not it, SIMSY. Just going to hamper down the car. Yeah, give it some safety of cover. Make sure no one else can do that towards him. 7 and DA battling. They're the 2 that in the kind of pre-established positions towards the west side of the circle. But yeah, GamerLegion, to me, I'm curious to see how well they hold on to this because they've got to know there are teams north.
Raise Your Edge down south again, peppered by Reciprocity. Everybody is basically outside the circle now is in trouble. NIP, one of them. They're trying to work their way around the south hills, but you can see that car is getting absolutely peppered by bullets. Meanwhile, oh no, this is not the start that NIP wanted. They will go down.
No.
Oh my word. F, boys. F in chat
this week
for
we need to see NIP do really well, have one of those very strong weeks. Welcome to game 1.
They need some, yeah. They need like a 60-point gap over G2. They need some big plays. Speaking of big plays, mxey's got 2 of them down. You can see there's third party helping him out here as well, so he might actually be able to get in.
He's got a nade and a molly. If he found time to put those into use, that'd be so nasty. Couldn't quite make it convert on the 3rd there, I think it was. But still, here's another battle going on. Raise Your Edge have pulled up right towards Team Liquid, who are already down to 2, and now they're gone. What a big loss here. We've had NIP go down. We've had Liquid go down. I think CrowCrowd's out of it now. These are the 3 teams that all had things to be fighting for.
And G2 themselves are in a great compound at the moment, so in this circle. So this is looking like a real nice points cushion for them. If they can solidify this one. FaZe Clan still got 2 Monte Nuevo, N47 also on the edge. They're kind of buffering one another at the moment. It's going to be a tricky old play for them to get out of there. N47 slowly working towards Fuzz and Aitzy that are on this hillside. They've got GamerLegion down below them. Here comes the rest of FaZe Clan in a vehicle, so they should be safe. But look at N47, they're all running this way.
Fuzzface might be well aware of this because I think he might have heard a car. He's holding that nice kind of like clutch point where he's going to try and play an Aitzy, ubah, and everyone else over the back of it, and then he swings out if they try and over push, or maybe he can get a punish if he feels it's the time. There's a nice little nade, not too bad. They're quite close, so it could have done something. They weren't that close, though. They're playing the other side of the hill here.
Realise that's a little risky. They're getting shot at by DA from behind as well. That's a good nade coming over, though. That's just going to be right on Fuzzface's lap. That was nice. I don't think they got quick enough to follow it up. They might be able to get more nades on, though, and that might confirm it. That's going to do a hell of a lot of damage to him. Aitzy's going to have to commit for the revive here. FaZe don't tend to leave players behind, so Page is going to be the flanker to try and get around. They need the cover fire from Aitzy and mxey and ubah, and you can see all around the sides at the moment. So Page, he can't push, because if he did, he'd just get completely picked apart. Circle, by the way, look at that shrink. It's going semi-central. Most of the teams, like, they're already in that central point, are happy. Deceprosity? I did it. You did. This is you. This is you. You did this last week. It's got me now. Deceprosity. Reciprocity have managed to get themselves a nice spot. But N47 are picking more points up.
And yeah, this is the whole Battle of the Northwest, and it's going to be a huge one. You've got 7 down there, Desperados, N47, FaZe, GamerLegion, the Knights, all have to get past each other. Let's see who comes out the victor on this. FaZe have Fuzzface back on his feet, and they're starting to push. They see weakness in N47, they see the knocks, they see the fight. They're going to start pressuring this side. This looks like the best chance for it, and this is just mutually assured destruction between these two teams. You've got TomiL still standing, sure, but they've lost out on 3 already. Now FaZe, even after all of that fight, still have 4 up. GamerLegion have taken their time. They had the compound to play from. They can take their time moving in towards it, but that's a knock on FaZe and a flush.
And a flush. 7 catching mxey out there as he tries to work his way up the hillside. It's going to be a tough old play for them. Na'Vi also in a tough position. They have to move up this hill with Raise Your Edge and DA all peppering down on them. You can see the kill feed already being lit up. That's another one down. A doozy goes. Buckamoldo already dropped off. Senor and Bestelosh having to reposition.
Sending it. They're trying to get in towards the circle. TSM definitely had vision on that. I saw a hell of a lot of Tracerfying going towards them. They've made it pretty well so far. I think FaZe might have vision on the other 2 that are working up. I think Fex and Bjorn might be in trouble from that. And there he goes. Bjorn goes down. Insta-flush. All these teams are struggling on this circle. It's a really rough entry on this one.
DA are picking a lot of points up here. It's a team that is battling relegation. They need to have a hell of a super week to try and pull themselves out of that relegation spot, but who knows? We've seen some wild plays. The Knights pulled 77 points off in 1 day in a 4-game match. We have 5 per day and 21 for the weekend, so anything can happen. I'm not going to write anyone off just yet. Desperados go down in 11th place. FaZe are in trouble. They're down to 2 with 7 putting the pressure on them.
Yeah, Coldamenta trying to make something happen against DA, but that's always going to be a trade favorable towards them. I don't think he's going to get away with much, and I think he knows it. Time to accept fate and just hit the deck and hope they don't find him first. Raise Your Edge go down in 10th. We're down to 9 teams now. GamerLegion, I think, might have 3 back up, or are they down to 2? I don't know if Fex got revived.
2 in a shack.
I think it might just be 2. I think Fex got knocked on the way there, but we are seeing G2 trying to hold down in the southeast. That's Reciprocity trying to breach towards them as well. They're trying to move up on this, or maybe just lock them in, try and just ensure they can't leave it too comfortably. TSM, again, huge compound pickup early. They went for this quite quickly, and this has paid off massively.
Well, that's open territory, Sadovnik. I'm not sure about that fight. So they try and push up. G2 did just make the move. ENCE are making a move. They're trying to blast it in, get inside the little valley area. SKUIJKE was the man trying to hold them off as, well, it doesn't help out when you run over your own teammates. We went back to this last week. This is quite commonplace. SKUIJKE right on top of DA as they come over the hillside. They were trying to push. They were trying to force onto ENCE, and you can see SKUIJKE's little play down low has caused them all sorts of problems as they're getting picked apart now. FaZe even managed to get a knock from the side.
Yeah, Mert's going to peek over that. They want this. DA's playing aggressive, and we don't get to see that often. They may get punished for it. Yes, Mert has gone down. That's towards Rustanmar got the knock. Monkey got the flush. That's how many teams are looking this way. Everyone's piling in. They want points. How you get the prizes. Now, Fuzzface gets punished from 7. I don't know if there's recoverability here, because Aitzy does at least get a trade, so maybe there's some hope, but they're so stuck out in the blue. Yep, down in 9th. We're losing out on so many big teams here trying to get to the circle. You're looking at the big contenders now. Reciprocity, who've turned their sights towards ENCE. Maybe want to try and get onto that path that runs up here, use it for cover, or simply remove ENCE from the equation.
Yeah, they're going to come right over the top for them. This is not good for ENCE. They have that smallest bit of cover. You can see DA in the back of them, ENCE in the front. The nades are coming in. TRYFFELI's going to go down. Rustanmar's in trouble. miikaz, but they're turning some nades of their own. That's looking good. That's going to be Shibi in all sorts of trouble. He does manage to get one flush down. It was a molly. It was a molly that went up there as well. miikaz, though, going to get TRYFFELI back up here. Now, almost, if anything, DA's push over the back there saved them because Reciprocity were forced to stop because they couldn't come over the hill, and now look at DA pulling up.
Yeah, they have to play out of their mind here, DA, and they know that.
SIXMO can't get up the
No,
bridge.
SIXMO's a little too short.
Like,
He's please, let me up. We are down to 2. SIXMO on the receiving end of an 8. Doesn't make it too easy, but it did land towards Rustanmar. So again, ENCE is not looking good, and again, SIXMO. The Turkish fans in chat
Mitraleius.
finally wake up. They're finally going to have something to be really proud of. Looking at this play so far is them playing a good game of PUBG. This is aggressive, it's thought out, and they're taking the fights they need to. It may not work out beyond this point, but here comes TSM, starting to play out. Mitraleius finding Edelweiss. How many kills do they have now?
It's 11 kills, 5 kills in counting for Mitraleius alone. So a cracking start from the Turkish boys, Sixmo and Mitraleius really putting some work down. Reciprocity coming in numbers now. They're realizing we need to commit 4 to this ridge line. They find miikaz, TRYFFELI still down there, but that's going to get a confirmed kill. Looking back straight over down. They are all inside the circle, so they don't have to fight for position here. This is simply looking for the points.
Yeah, and that's going to be Rory just looking out from the compound, catching reels on the other side of the hillside here. And again, TRYFFELI's right in the middle, like, please, just don't. Just leave me alone. Sixmo just turns around and finds Hamster. Where are these guys? They're just on a swivel. They're just turning around getting everything. Monkey, nicely done. This guy's impressed me so much. Mitraleius, though, holding that cross, holding the push-up. Oh, the peek is so good from Sixmo. They're not making it across this valley. They were banking on the cover from Scoom.
G2.
But then G2 come in.
Coming straight up from behind, Braexco catching one out. Monkey's the last man standing at the moment. The rest are down on the floor. Monkey right up behind them. He could get the double here. That's what he's dreaming of. That's what he sees. But is he going to be quick enough? He manages to get a great vision, but they saw him first. And DA are on 15 kills and charging. 7 for Mitraleius, the man that came in to replace Iroh at the start of Phase 3. What a turnaround they're having so far.
Yeah, who's removed their prone keys? Who's gone on their keyboards and taken them off and just replaced it with W? These guys are going wild right now, and I'm loving it. This is the team I wanted to see. All of us love a bit of this. Nades do come through. They're just playing out right now. They know that, okay, we're down to 2. Let's just frag out. Let's take all these fights. Mitraleius, 7 kills. That's huge.
It's a massive performance from Sixmo Mitraleius, but really, in all honesty, it's all about TSM and G2 in this final circle. The Knights down here in the shack, they're safe. It's all going to play out in the hills. They're not going to do a great deal because you can see it all happening. TSM still in their compound, and you got to feel it's DA's turn. They just took 4 reciprocity players down with the 2. Now can they take on TSM and G2 in this hill?
Yeah, looking at the scenario, G2's position is far superior to TSM's, but they do have at least a little bit of low ground to work from, but the circle obviously can favor TSM if they go low ground. Now, let's take a look at how this one plays out, because it's actually a bit of a weird battle. G2, if the circle was on them, they'd be literal kings of the hill and they'd have it all, but it's not. They'll probably have to move forward from this.
Oh, Snark pops up and sneak Sixmo down, pops out of his shack, and that's put Mitraleius back on the floor. Well, 15 kills is still a mighty performance from Digital Athletics. So no matter what, they're coming out with a lot of points. Obviously, within the top 4 already. But G2 and TSM. TSM down to 3, remember. They did lose Gustav, and it was G2 that shot him as they tried to get on that hill.
Have they found a way up here? I'm looking at TSM. Has CrowCrowd got the angle on it, though? I wish we could see CrowCrowd's perspective, because I'm wondering if TSM were trying to use the circle to try and get towards a more even ground position, and I think that's what they achieved here with Rory. Nice call from them. It looks like, though, NELLOZ and co, they're holding those kind of peaks over those deeper ridges, so as soon as they get closer, they're going to get peaked like this, and it's so hard to defend against. Somehow Rory is still alive. He needs some help from Michael or Iroh or someone.
He wanted to just drop that molly on him and now to just toss it straight towards Michael to force him backwards there. CrowCrowd actually got knocked by Snark from down low. The Knights getting involved in this. TSM lost one as well as Rory's down. Iroh's trying to go for the revive on him. You can see NELLOZ getting the revive here. The circle's pulled away from both of these teams. It's gone down to the Knights and Mitraleius that are down low. So all these players, they have to leave the safety almost of these big hill ridges.
Nice smoke coming out there. I think it was from Michael, because that dirt path that runs up is pretty much the cutoff, and there's very little cover to allow TSM to cross, whereas G2 have a slightly easier cross, and they haven't removed Yannis from the equation. He's holding that overview here. He can try and keep tabs on it, maybe try and get to a bit of a plateau where he can get vision down to them, pushing towards CrowCrowd. Braexco going to start trying to get towards closer on the circle. Mitraleius, though, started to take fights. He just wants in on this.
He's getting involved. I like it. I like to see this aggression turning around. It's costing him. He's having to look towards the Knights as well and say, yeah, I'm watching you. Oh, there's no helmet on Snark, I think I just saw there either. So it could cause a problem for them, and that's causing someone to look the other way. CrowCrowd gets caught out by Iroh, A little bit too deep. Yannis still holding that high ridge, but he's going to have to move away now. The blue is pushing him, and that's going to give TSM an advantage.
Go on, look at Mitraleius go. He's being such a nuisance towards G2. As soon as they peek towards TSM, he gets peppered, he gets shot down. Iroh makes the cross, and Mitraleius goes down. That's going to alleviate the pressure from G2. TSM trying to move up. That's Iroh trying to get the heal off here. Now, G2 hadn't moved in all that time, really. Braexco was the one player moving forward, trying to get towards that next position. One nade could do so much work right now.
That'd be 3 gone. 1 nade, but they've already tossed out what they had, so it's all about the smoke, and Iroh in this prone position is so vulnerable. The second this smoke dissipates, Yannis is going to be the man. He sees down low, gets the spray down, manages to find the headshot, could confirm it as well. Looking towards CrzyZZ as well. It's just looking, sees the shadow, gets the smallest bit. Iroh going massive for TSM here. Now looking at NELLOZ, he's got the reload back off. NELLOZ is right there. If he creeps over to the right, he will see him.
Yeah, he's going to get vision right about now, gets the information, time to move. We are looking like TSM is right on form here. Iroh gets the flush, NELLOZ is next to him. Braexco did find Snark.
The Knights got taken down by G2 in the process. Now it's a full-on 2-on-3. TSM versus G2. A battle for position. G2 need all the points they can get with the pressure on them from CrowCrowd and NIP this week. They're still hanging on to that PGC position. Iroh's already been massive in this play. Going to get around the side. That's an instant headshot. NELLOZ catches him, traded. Michael catches him in the back. Braexco all on him.
Braexco, this is such a hard 1v2 though. Look at Rory's angle, look at it, he spots him though. Braexco gets the vision, he goes for the flush on Iroh. Can he get this insta-kill? He needs to take him down quick.
So close to catching the headshot, gets a glimpse of Michael. Michael, no helmet down low, gets a little pink. Oh, he's down to 17. Michael gets him down. It's TSM. It is just a 5-kill win. It's certainly nothing special, but they'll take the win regardless. Keeps the chase on the top with FaZe Clan, of course. But it's all really, the story's about DA.
It's Turkish
Where
Day.
did they come from?
You've had Iroh popping off for TSM. He was the big fragger for them. And then DA just playing out of their minds. What a big performance. And I'm happy to see it. Why not just push everything? You've got nothing to lose now. You just have to play the best game you can.
The Knights confirming the points that are needed, of course. They are on the bubble of relegation. They're in that 12th place spot that everybody's chasing. GamerLegion being the one that are surging behind them. And now it seems Digital Athletics also hot to trot. But it is TSM. They are the winners. They're chasing that #1 spot. Wouldn't it be something if they could take that away from FaZe Clan? Let's go down to Parla and speak with them.
Thank you, D-Man. TSM, congratulations, guys. That was a fantastic game. Seems you are carrying on your good performances here into week 6. One man that was individually performing very well, especially at the end, was Iroh. What was happening?
Well, we knew that G2 was above us, so I just threw smokes and just sprayed in them, and I got knocks. That's it.
In those last engagements, how were you factoring in the main threat of G2, but then also being aware of PK and DA? Gustav?
Well, we knew that G2 was 4 up, and they were most likely to win the game, so I told the others to not shoot at Knights, because we kind of needed the help to kill G2. So, yeah, the guys didn't really shoot at Knights, so we were all just focusing on G2, and then they ended up, like, yeah, getting shot by everyone. We won the game from that, I think. I think if we knocked Knights there, and G2 could get the riches a bit earlier, we would probably not have won the game.
Michael and Rory, whilst we play some highlights on screen right now, tell me about your position on the leaderboard. You're in contention possibly for first place. A lot of pressure. Do you think you can rise to the occasion?
Yeah, it's just best of 21 from now, so I know we haven't really been in this situation before, but we had like a hard phase last time where we just didn't qualify, so we now know what it takes to just secure the placement.
Michael, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of teams are playing for their PGC spots, so I think they have more pressure than we do. We're, I may say it earlier, but we're like the more considered qualified for PGC already, so the pressure now is to close the league out. I think that's less than actually trying to get to qualify at PGC. And the relegation is also a lot of pressure. I think the other teams actually face more pressure than we do right now. I think winning the league is the least pressure that the top teams have right now compared to the rest of the league.
Guys, congratulations on your first chicken dinner of week 6, the final week here at PEL Phase 3. TSM off to a flying start.
That's right, a calm and patience win there by TSM to take the crown for their first game here of the week. And it was great to hear in the interview as well, especially from Gustav. I love hearing things like this when it comes to PUBG competitive. We let Knights live. We're not shooting at them so that they can cover the angles, or maybe we need them going up against G2. I love hearing stuff like that from us.
I mean, they know that they don't really need the points right now. They have a lot of points. They don't want to risk anything. If anything, they just want to get a little bit more points. But they will get there by winning, not by going and putting themselves in danger and eventually losing people.
This kind of micromanagement is something that the top IGLs really are good at. This is a fantastic call from Gustav, and obviously this awareness is what put them at where they are today. And what I really love about that, on top of that, what you guys said is obviously they don't care about the points and stuff like that, but it severely increased their chance to win. That the other guys could put pressure on G2, obviously.
I'm not gonna say it's all because of DIDS, but if we looked at Phase 2 TSM, they would have pushed that straight away. They would have gone for the shots. They wanted to get all the kills, all the damage they could do in Phase 2. Phase 3, they've been playing so much smarter, TSM. They've been super smart with the rotations, the patience, knowing exactly when to strike.
Other big news, those guys, CrowCrowd and NIP went out early in this game. Meanwhile, Knights, they finished in 3rd with some kills. So they're gonna like kind of catch up with this, get themselves out of the spot, especially for the PGC points.
Yeah, elevate themselves indeed. One team that did absolutely pop off though, and we've got to give massive credit to them, is Digital Athletics in this game.
This is Digital Athletics on the edge play. We know that they can do this. They've shown us this before, but every time they go center, which is the normal play from DA, nothing happens. When they play edge, this is what happens.
Very, very impressive stuff. What, 15 kills with 11 left alive or something like that?
15 kills, really impressive. And especially when there were like two guys towards the end, they kept shooting. They kept putting pressure onto ends, onto Reciprocity. It was fantastic to see.
Very nice indeed. Final moments here.
Nice
G2
shots.
Braexco getting some really good shots there on towards Knights. But TSM comes out with the win. For TSM, a lot of the circles kind of came their way. They were in the right compound, so a pretty calm win.
We've seen a lot of finishes in this compound, in this area in general, so obviously they know where to play, especially with the second shift to go south. So especially this compound is super strong, no matter where the last 2 circle goes.
Points coming in, 0 points for 3 of the teams down towards the bottom, and we take a look up at the top. 19 points for Digital Athletics, who actually take the top spot in this game despite not getting the victory. TSM with only 5 kills there, the 10 placement points.
Then we have Reciprocity, Pittsburgh Knights, and Raise Your Edge there. And all of these teams, they are fighting for the last spot for PGC. So, I mean, it's great to see. And as you mentioned, with CC and NIP going out early, this might be a big battle going on now.
Definitely so, and I think also, Avenger, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's going to be a big battle up towards for the top spot for number 1, because with this, FaZe Clan is going to be knocked off the top, TSM's going to take that number 1 spot. But I think there's going to be so much bouncing around there between the top teams.
With Reciprocity, I just want to go back to those guys, because they got 9 points. With Reciprocity getting 9 points, they will only need 50 more points, like in this phase, for Phase 3, 50 more points than CrowCrowd and NIP for the rest of the week in the next 20 games to take the PGC spot away from both CrowCrowd and NIP.
I mean, that's totally doable. Basically, today, tomorrow, and Saturday. That's going to be the normal weekend. And then you have 6 more games on top of that with 2 Sanok games. And those 2 Sanok games is going to be super interesting to see.
The Super Sunday.
Wow.
You like that, huh?
That's interesting.
Yeah. That was something you could have done.
It definitely could have.
Mitraleius is 6-mo on the damage leaderboard, though.
Nice.
Not normally what we see, but we like to see it.
An unfamiliar face. Mert3 getting himself the top spot. Great stuff here in Phase 3. And that kind of wraps up game number 1 here for Miramar to start things off. The circles as they... Transformers, robots in disguise. Okay. I panicked there for a moment. It's just a reflex. I don't know what happens. We're going on to our next Miramar game. We've seen a lot of circles in that kind of position around that area, near Pozo, centering near Pozo, and then obviously shifting from there. So I want more different circles, boys.
Let's get some Camo Militar and some of these island endings we love and the players love so much on Miramar.
I mean, when we get so many circles over there, though, you want to see the teams adapting a little bit better to it, because you've been playing so many circles over there, you know how the other teams are going to be playing those circles. Now you got to step up your game and make sure that you win the game.
Yeah, even if we have repetitive circles, you can see the teams that are adapting better and faster are getting better and better placements, because you know, when we have a Western circle, it's either going to go north or it's going to go south. And then you see the teams that are adapting and adjusting even faster, they're just overall doing better and better. But I really want to see some of these southern endings on the kind of the southern coast, where we have all of these big ridges and very different kind of play style compared to what we saw here.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. It's time to go to a short break here where we've got the hashtag AskPEL. Make sure to throw some questions our way, as we will be answering some of those in the week, which is always very exciting to hear from you guys out there. So do that, tag us if you want as well, and we can see them and think about our answers as time goes on. We're going to that break. When we return, we will have more Miramar. But before that, let's see from one of our unfamiliar faces from DESPERADO.